It says starter transcription. Okay, whatever. Hi everyone who's joined us on the recording. We're just getting started with the welcome briefing and your CSP committee. I'm India, the Deputy President of Clubs and Societies. Hopefully you guys might recognize me from elections last year. And I'm just going to pass over to Connor and Joe to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Connor Wolford. I'm the Student Opportunities and Development Manager. So I'm new to the team. I only started a couple of weeks ago. So I'm currently learning everything that I need to be able to support the team, to support you to all have the best year.
Hi guys, my name's Jo Purkis. I'm also in the Student Opportunities Development team as one of the coordinators, and my main focus areas are events and development.
Thanks both. Okay. So I'm going to start with my slide deck, and I'm going to be talking about CSPs in general, the structure of the union, and some kind of basics you need to know. So let me just get my screen shared. Do I have a choice? Cool. Can everyone see that appropriately? So here are your officer trustees, and this is just my opening slide. I don't have much to say here. So I'm just going to quickly go over the aims of my section of the talk. We're going to introduce you to the union, what we are, what our kind of values and motto are, basic overview of your role and what you need to do to run your CSP, what you can achieve, how to kind of achieve your goals, and a couple of things that might be new and changing to improve that if you've run a CSP in the past, might be different now. So first, we're starting with a quiz. I have realized that this is quite challenging because I can't see the chat, but if anyone just wants to shout out the answer to questions, that would be great. I have the answers here. So first, in what year was the Imperial College Union building constructed? Does anyone have any guesses? You could write in the chat, and then Joe or Connor could read out the answers. Anyone got any guesses? No?
1921. Yeah.
That's not far off. I'm going to say you can go lower if anyone wants to take a second guess. Oh, we've got an 1889 in the chat. Oh, whoever guessed 1912 is currently the closest. I'm going to call it. The answer is apparently 1909 or 1911. Whoever wrote this quiz couldn't decide. I guess we don't know. Second question, how many bars/clubs does the union run? This should be a relatively easy question, I hope, for everyone. Yeah, wait. The person who just put the 5 in the chat, that's quite hilarious. I thought you were answering question number 2. Does anyone want to answer question number 2? No? Okay, we have, 7, close guess. We have 5. So they are the Union Bar, Metric, 568, H Bar, and Reynolds Bar. When was the first Student Choice Awards held? This is a bit of a tricky one if you haven't been around for a while, but it's a surprising answer if anyone wants to take a stab. In the chat, the Freshers Fair information session immediately follows the session. It's in the same group. We're just giving a quick overview of the union first. "2020 is the right answer. Okay, we'll move on to number 4. What year was Felix founded? How long has our student newspaper been going? "1949 is the right answer. And finally, we've already had a stab at this one, but how many clubs and societies do we have this academic year, 21-22? Don't cheat. There's an easy way to cheat. 385 is pretty close. 302 is a fair way off. It's in the 300 range. We have a bit over 360 clubs and societies currently. I think it's 364, but I haven't exactly double checked. So thank you for interacting with my pop quiz. Most of the rest of this presentation will be significantly less interactive, so you can take a breath. Just wanted to check you're awake on a Wednesday morning. So, hello. So this is just a quick overview of the Office of Trustees. Obviously, I am there, Deputy President, Clubs and Societies. If you're mostly worried about Clubs and Societies, you will be dealing with me the most. But we also have Sam Lee, our Deputy President, Finance and Services, who helps with the bars and a few other things. Lloyd James, Union President, obviously kind of deals with everything, but mostly college stuff. Daniel, Deputy President, Education. If you're an academic rep, you'll be dealing with Daniel. And then Natalie, Deputy President, Welfare, who does all of the wellbeing rep stuff. So, quick overview of us. I might skim through this history because it'll take too long to go through it in detail, but we have quite a long history. We originally formed up of a couple of different unions, which have then formed our constituent unions. Our first SAB president was elected in 1969. The Medics Union was established in 1988, and we became a charity in 2013, and you all got elected to continue on our history in 2021. These are our constituent unions, just for a quick overview. I'm sure a lot of you know about this, but every course we have fits into one of those, every undergraduate course we have, and they're all pretty historic, quite old, mostly in the 1800s, but one in the Medics got created later, because Medics were always special. So here's a general mission statement of the union. Our mission is to make a positive impact on the experiences and outcomes of all Imperial College students from all backgrounds. And we find this very important to us to make sure that everything we do is kind of available to everyone, and we consider everyone in everything we do. Yeah. So this is a slightly difficult to read diagram, which hopefully will help you give a context of where all of our clubs sit. So we have management groups and constituent unions that I just talked about. And so the constituent unions are here, City and Guilds Constituent Union, Graduate Union, Graduate Student Union, Medics Union, Sciences, Minors, and Stillwood. And then we have our management groups where clubs that aren't part of a constituent union sit. And so one of a club that isn't a constituent union club, then you'll sit in one of these. Hopefully you know which one, but they are arts and entertainment, community, culture, knowledge, recreation, and sports. And then these all feed into the Club Society and Project Board, which I chair, which then feeds into Union Council, and that's how kind of policy and decision is made. Then we've also got a quick overview of the union staffing structure. We've got the Board of Trustees, which I'm on, then our Managing Director, then a couple of directors, and this diagram isn't entirely accurate right now, but the stuff that's important is accurate. So here we have Connor, the Student Opportunities and Development Manager, and then our coordinators and receptionists and other staff. Joe is one of the coordinators. So here, how we support you. We help you to run student-led activity. We have the largest range of student-led activity of any university and the largest number of societies, I believe. We try and make sure that you guys have as much autonomy as we can give you, and while also supporting you when you need it. We have policies that kind of define how you will run, and these can be found. I'll discuss them a little bit later. But with these policies, you can do anything you like, and you can help shape policies if you disagree with them, either by bringing them to CSTB or by writing a council paper if it's a bigger issue than that. So here's a link to our policies. You can find them all on the website. These are the ones that are most relevant to clubs, societies, and projects. So obviously the club, society, and project policy defines how CSTB runs, and then a few others that will have an impact on how you run your society. So they're all available on the website to look at. So hopefully most of you have heard of e-activities. It's where we have a lot of our finance systems, a lot of our general management of clubs. We have a training section on e-activities, which you can look at there, and these are the kind of segments of training we have on e-activities. It's worth getting familiar with it because you'll need it at some point urgently, and then if you don't know, it can be a bit confusing. So I recommend having a poke around e-activities and seeing what you can do. There are a few other places you can get support. So you can talk to your management group committee or your constituent union committee, depending on where you sit in that. You can email activities at Imperial ACD UK, and also you could talk to past committee members or past people in your society. They are generally helpful, but take what they say with a pinch of salt because things change quite often. So what they say may not always be accurate. So just a quick summary of your responsibilities as a club committee member. So you are an ambassador for both your club and for the union. You will be held accountable for anything you do. We hope you will act with integrity and everything that comes along with that. You have a duty of care to other members of your society and just people in general. And you can be held liable if something, I mean, not to scare you, but like, just because you're a part of the union doesn't mean you're absolved of any responsibility for what your society does. And then chairs, secretaries, treasurers, and captains have a bit more responsibility, namely financial responsibility, as well as a few other things, because they are important positions. This is kind of a quiz, but not really, just kind of shout some ideas, throw some ideas in the chat. How does breaking policy or bad behavior or breaking the law have an impact on these three categories? And we'll go through them one by one. So how does breaking the law have an impact on an individual? Just throw some ideas into the chat if you have any. Even outside of the context of the union, what happens to an individual if they break the law, for example? Fines, charges, general trouble is more accurate than getting sued. Getting sued in the UK is a little bit more difficult, unusual. You're more likely to be arrested or be fined, for example, but these are relatively rare things. I just want to make it clear that it's not, just because you're in uni and you're not like a full-blown adult, you still have to kind of follow the law. If you're a medical student, this also has further repercussions in that you can have a fitness to practice panel brought against you. And if you kind of publicize bad behavior on social media as an individual, employers do Google us nowadays, so just kind of be aware of what you share, because they do Google it and that can impact future employment. With CSPs, anyone got any kind of thing can impact a club? Yeah, so suspension is a possibility. We have a process for that. Budget frozen is actually a surprisingly common one. People, if your committee members don't do their quizzes or the activities, your budget might get frozen by your management group because they haven't done the appropriate training to spend money. You might also get less sponsorship if your club appears to be behaving badly externally. You might be banned from our venues. We do ban clubs in general, occasionally, only if they do really bad things. You might, if you're a sporting group, you might get disqualified from taking part in the leagues, and yeah, a couple of other things. But yeah, that's pretty fair, pretty overall. And then have you got any ideas on how clubs or individuals behaving like this might impact the union at large or the college? Yeah, put it. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, put into disrepute and tarnishes the image is pretty accurate. That's pretty much all I wanted to say, is that the clubs do represent us as a whole. So act as if you're representing the entire union. This was a bit more of a downer than I expected the slide to be, but thank you for your participation, good answers. It's just important to kind of be aware of the consequences of your actions, I guess. So moving on to more fun things. So for the year ahead, it's really great to kind of at this stage in the year think about exactly what you want to achieve and what your goals and what you need to start doing to get to there. These are some photos of some, I believe, pre-COVID fun events that happened. But it's a good time now to start kind of putting into place the big events you have in the year. I'm sure a lot of you have already started, but this is kind of just a think about this. now. So here are a couple of areas we've been working on improvements over the past kind of year, and we'll be continuing to improve as we go. The areas that we've had some feedback on in the past. So storage and space, we just went a space review and looked at every storage space and cleared out a lot of them. So hopefully this has helped some of your clubs to have better spaces, and we'll be continuing to figure out the best way to use spaces. We've been changing the way we do CSP elections slowly but surely, and this will continue into next year. Minibuses are being reviewed, so we are trying to improve our old and tired offering of minibuses. Yeah, if you're a club that uses those, you will have heard about it. Risk assessments, the process at the moment is a little bit slow. It was already a step up from what we had before, but we are definitely looking at reviewing this again. Sponsorships and contracts, we recently changed, like recently in the past kind of year, the way sponsorship contracts are signed, but we understand that it's still not fully flowing, so we are still reviewing that even further. And finally, disciplinaries, we've put in place a new disciplinary process, so it's clear what happens. Here's kind of my final thing is that you can get in touch with us. This is the team: Connor and Joe, Martha, Patrice, Robert, and Sheena. And you can email activities, or you can message these various channels, but you will get the marketing team, not the activities team, if you do that. And yeah, I can answer a few quick questions now, but I feel like we should probably move on to the welcome fair briefing and do questions at the end. I did see one question in the chat that I could just quickly touch on, I believe. Contact details, I think would have needed to be filled in last year, but I will look at it. It's basically making sure all your committee members have phone numbers. But yeah. Joe, over to you.
Thanks, India. Right, I'm just going to get up the slides for the welcome briefing. Okay, can we all see those? Yep. Perfect. Okay, so welcome fair, as you all should hopefully know, is taking place next Tuesday, Tuesday the 5th of October. So hopefully you have all received our notifications and signed up to book your stall. So the purpose of the fair is obviously a chance for you guys as CSPs to showcase what you have to offer to new students and any returning students that are coming to campus, for the in-person fair and for the digital fair for anyone that is based externally or is unable to attend on the day. Obviously the fair takes place during Welcome Week. So obviously the whole week is a chance for everyone to return to campus and return to Imperial. In terms of the actual day, the day will run similarly to how it has done in the past in terms of timings. A few slight changes in terms of when you arrive. So the first being 9 o'clock will be the registration time. We're going to ask you all to register at the Union Help Desk, which is located on the ground floor of the Bayat Quad building. When you register here, you will be issued 2 lanyards for your stall. And that is for your stall holders to wear at all times. And as we've mentioned, it's 2 people per table at a time. So you'll be able to collect those. You'll also be informed at registration exactly where your stall will be located. So you'll be able to go across to the location and set up your stall. So setting up will take place from 9 till 10. So you've got all of that hour to put out whatever you want around your stall and get ready for people arriving. The fair will run between 10 and 4. There will be the first hour between 10 and 11. It will be a quiet hour. So it has been issued out in communications, but that will be the fair timing. So during that time, we have said, obviously, you can change your stall holders throughout the time. Just make sure you've got someone present on your stall throughout the 10 till 4 slot. 4 o'clock will be packed down. So please don't pack down any earlier. It will be 4 o'clock. And what we're going to ask you to do at 4 o'clock is return your tables and lanyards to the drop-off points. So there's going to be 3 drop-off points, which I will go through later. So when you've packed all your equipment away, pack up the table and return the lanyards and tables to the drop-off area, which will be closest to your location. So they're the timings for Tuesday. In terms of the rules and what you're required, the do's and don'ts, which you will have seen when you filled out your application for a stall. So just to run through these for you, like I've just said, 2 committee members at all times on the stall, maximum, and you can rotate those. Okay, so it doesn't need to be the same 2, you can rotate them, just make sure whoever's there is wearing the lanyards at the time. In indoor locations, you will be asked to wear masks. Okay, so that is a COVID protocol of the college, so you will be asked to wear masks during that time, unless you're doing a performance on one of the stages. In the indoor locations, there will be a one-way system in place, so please adhere to that, and please encourage anybody coming around the stalls to follow the one-way system, because it helps us with the flow and the number of people in each room. There will be lots of bins and rubbish bags around the venue. Please make sure that when you leave, you just put all of your rubbish in the nearest bin, and we'll leave it nice and tidy. As most of you have known, and there have been a few questions on this, refreshments, we will only be allowing any wrapped and sealed refreshments that clearly display allergens. So anything that is outside of this remit, unfortunately, will be removed. So just make sure that anything you've got is not handmade. It does need to be wrapped and sealed and clearly display allergens. Any equipment and display items must fit in your designated area unless you have previously requested from us and submitted a risk assessment. Anything else must fit within your table area. Also, please don't move. You will not be allowed to move any of the locations of the stalls because all of these have been assigned, and you will notice as well on e-activities on your CSP page, it will also display where your stall is located, so people will be able to easily find you. So in terms of your actual stall, what you will find when you get there is a table, a 4 foot by 2.4 foot table, which will be set up when you get there. It'll be clearly labelled with your CSP name, and there will also be a QR code on the table which will link to the IDA Digital Fair platform. So hopefully you've all uploaded the content for that as well. So that's a really quick and easy way for people to just scan their phones and log straight into the Digital Fair platform as well, which will remain live for a couple of weeks after the event. As we mentioned, there'll be no power provided to any of the stalls this year. And also from a health and safety perspective, you will not be able to trail any cables to any power outlets in any of the rooms if there are power near your table. Okay, so it is no power. So if you are using things like laptops, etc., just make sure they're fully charged before you get there. Like we said, any equipment or display items must fit within your stall area. So please don't overflow onto someone else's space unless they have already been approved by the union, and we will have already been in contact with you regarding that. The other thing to mention is just be as sustainable as you can. Okay, so try not to print loads and loads of leaflets and paper. If you can, use the IDA digital platform QR code, use your own QR codes, link to things, and hopefully we can not use too much paper. If you do have things, just make sure we use the bins and things afterwards. I've mentioned performances, so there will be some performances taking place in 3 locations and demonstrations. So there'll be 2 performance stages, one in Metric and one in the Union Concert Hall. And there'll also be sports demonstrations taking place on Queen's Lawn. So if you've already been successful in securing a slot, you will either have been contacted already, or we will contact you to let you know the timings. And all of the performance times will be announced and put on social media on the day, so people know when to come and see you at which location. Wet weather. So the majority of stalls this year will have an indoor location. The outdoor stalls that will be outside will either be covered with a marquee or a gazebo. So hopefully everyone will be covered from any rain. Hopefully there won't be any rain on Tuesday. But if you are in the sports area, there is no need now to bring a gazebo because we've already secured some for that location. The only area that won't be covered is a sports demonstration area. So if the weather is too bad, unfortunately, we may not be able to do the activities in there, but we can decide that on the day. But in terms of all other locations, they will be covered. If you're outside, if you're going to be located on Queen's Lawn, which I'll show on the map in a second, just make sure you are warm, make sure you dress appropriately, because you may be standing out there for a while if it's quite cold. So in terms of locations, I do have a map in a second, but these are roughly where everyone is going to be. So I won't run through and read all of these out, but you can see roughly where your CSP falls and which area you will be located in. When you arrive at the registration help desk, you will be given exactly the number of the table you are in, so you'll know when you go to the Great Hall. For example, if I'm a cultural society, I will know where exactly in the Great Hall I'll be located, so I can go and find it. On this table as well, you'll see in the third column that I've labelled the table drop-off zone. So I mentioned that at the start. At the end of the day, we're asking all stall holders to return their tables and their lanyards to a drop-off zone. These will be clearly signposted with a sign, and they should be fairly close to the area that you are in. So the three areas are Biot Quad, Queen's Lawn, and then the main entrance. So just keep an eye out for which one you have, which one is close to where you will be, so that you can return your equipment afterwards. So the final thing to show you is the map. So the spaces that we are using this year, you can see this is the Union Building. Hopefully you can see this clearly, but we will have stalls in Biot Quad. So there'll be a marquee set up on the left-hand side of the lawn, opposite the Recordlit Garden. We'll have stalls located in Metric. And in both of these locations, there will be one-way systems. There will be an entrance and an exit, so just make sure you can adhere to those. Like we said, on the ground floor, there will be the reception help desk, and that's where you need to go at the start of the day just to register and receive your stall holder lanyards and just to say that you are here. 568, obviously next door. Upstairs, we will have the Union Dining Hall will be a quiet area. So if anyone that wants to go there at any point throughout the day as some respite, that will be a quiet zone. And then activity spaces 1 and 2 and meeting rooms 1 and 2 will be covered. We'll have stalls in there. Again, adopting a one-way system, so it'll be really clear for people to be able to find where your stall is. And then upstairs on the top floor, we have on floor 2, we have the Union Concert Hall. So we'll have stalls in there, and we'll also have the performance stage where the performance is happening in there. Over in college spaces, so we will be using the main entrance leading from Exhibition Road. We then will be using the foyer area in Mechenge, and then JCR, Junior Common Room, Senior Common Room, Queen's Lawn and SAF for the Medic Societies, and the Great Hall. In terms of the Queen's Tower Room and the Queen's Lawn Terrace, there'll be lots of commercial partners here on the day as well, so they'll be displaying their promotional activity in those areas and also outside. You'll also see in the car park as well, as in previous years, there will be located vintage vehicles, minis, carts, things like that, and also some of the promotional activations out in the car park. So they're the locations. Like I say, when you get to reception on the morning, you'll be told exactly where to go. But as you can see, whichever area your CSP falls in, that's roughly where you'll be located in each of those areas. So there we go. So if anybody has any questions on that, please feel free to write in the chat or just shout out and we can run through those. Okay, so first one I can see at the bottom is, how do we know if our IDA post has been approved? Okay, so we've received all of the content uploads. The deadline was extended to Tuesday. So we're now going to be approving all of those this week, and you will then know and get a confirmation if your content has been approved. If it hasn't been approved, then we will come out and reach to you. Okay, so if not, then it will be logged straight onto the IDA platform and it'll be available for everyone to see. Next one is, what should our club do if our committee didn't receive the email for uploading content for the online Freshers Fair? Okay, so if you drop us an email to activities@imperial.ac.uk. If you do that as soon as you can, and we can resend the link out to you and you can upload that content. If you could do it as soon as you can, we can get that sorted for you. Okay, so we are a new activities society and we can't see the button to purchase a society membership on the union page. How do we enable this? Okay, that's fine. Again, in that scenario, we're able to open up your membership settings on eActivities. So if you just drop us an email to activities again, somebody in the team will be able to look at that for you. Just having a scroll through to see any more. There's a question here just on, oh, so that was previous to the fair, so we can come back to those ones. Is there anything else fair related? Any more questions for the fair? Are we allowed to put out posters around the campus? India, do you know the answer to that one? Obviously, you can put up posters in your stall area. In terms of flying around the campus, I'll let India answer that one. She may know more than me.
Yeah, you can. There's a kind of reasonable spacing policy where you can't just kind of put them everywhere, and there are specific areas on campus which are like poster boards, and you can't like take down other people's posters to put them up, if that makes sense. So you will have seen some of the poster areas are like on the walkway past the between like Huxley and the Great Hall and that kind of area. And a lot of the buildings have poster areas in as well. So you can, but I think it will be more effective for saving your posters for your kind of stall, mostly because there'll be lots of posters everywhere, and
Question from Katrina. I've signed up to the Welcome Fair for my society through the form, but I've not received any details about stall arrangements. So I was just wondering whether we're allocated. Okay, so everybody that signed up through the form should have received an email confirmation just saying we've received it. If you haven't, don't worry. If you've signed up on the form, then you've been allocated a stall. So don't worry about that. Again, if you've got any worries or queries, you can always drop us an email. But if you've signed up on the form, then you have been allocated a stall. So no need to worry there. Is there a need to bring the society to gazebo, or will we be provided one? No. So if you are a sports society, we initially did ask you if you had any gazebos, but the numbers were fairly low. So we've managed to provide gazebos for everybody outside in those spaces. So you don't need to worry about that this time. Can we get a download link for the slides? Of course. So we are going to upload the recording for this meeting onto eActivities straight after this meeting. So these slides will be available as well for you to view. Can we do shifts of 2 people? Yes, of course. Yep. So the time obviously to be on your stall is between 10 and 4. You can, of course, keep swapping your 2 people. No need to come back to reception to say I've changed over. Just give your lanyards to the other 2 people, and that is absolutely fine. Just to confirm, we will only know our exact stall location on the Freshers Fair day. Right. Yes. So so you've been given the rough areas. So if you're a cultural society, you know you'll be in the Great Hall. Example, if you're a sports society, Queen's Lawn, etc. When you turn up for registration, you will be told exactly which location in those areas that you will be. We are a dance society and we used to have some committee members handing out flyers with their costumes around campus. Is it allowed this year? India, I might ask you that one.
We haven't really discussed this. I don't see why not, as long as they wear masks and follow the one-way system and in general kind of act like a someone just attending the freshers there. Obviously, they won't be manning the stall at that point, so they'll be away from the dance stall in general and not be kind of the person with the lanyard on the stall. Preferably, I think we'd prefer it if you did this in an outdoor location rather than an indoor location to ensure that the kind of walkways are free and we have as much flow as possible. So yeah, I would recommend doing something like that in bike quad, but maybe not for the entire day and just keep it small. Is that kind of okay?
Hopefully that answers your question. Where will the registration area be? The registration area will be on the ground floor in the Byatt building, so the Union building where the help desk is usually located. Okay, so in between Metric and 568. Are there any others? Oh, performances, when we'll be told about the time of the performances for each society. So we're just working through those now. So you will receive an email from us this week telling you exactly your slot and which area you have been allocated for a performance, if you have requested one. Are there any others that we may have missed? I think Connor has just replied about the Wanna Go Wednesday in the chat.
There's one about inventory for Freshers Fair from Sarah. I'm not sure what you mean, Sarah, but I don't think generally small clubs that have been kind of out for a while won't have any inventory for freshers. Generally, people get it fresh every year, as far as I know. And if you don't have any storage locations, you won't have any items like that. So it's probably just that it doesn't exist. Sorry.
In terms of if anybody needs equipment from their storage areas for the fair, India, do we need to say anything regarding collecting equipment from the storage areas, or is it just book it as usual?
Just do it as normal.
Yeah.
Preferably a little bit in advance of the fair, because obviously it will be really busy around campus on the day. But yeah.
Perfect. Does anybody have anything else, either fair related, or if there are any previous questions for India regarding the overview at the start? Feel free to shout out, drop a message. There's one that's come in from Eva here. We've missed the deadline for the in-person fair registration. We filled out the form later. Will we still be registered, or what should we have done to make sure we have a stall? Yep, no, that's fine. If you've still completed the form, we will have checked it and got back to you. And that is fine. You will have been allocated a stall. Feel free to pop in the chat the name of your society if you want to, and I can just double check, but you'll be fine. We will have allocated you a stall. Perfect. Connor's replied to that one. Anyone else? Like I say, Feminist Society. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, that's fine. So if anybody has any questions after this, obviously feel free to send activities an email. Obviously, we've got a lot of emails to get through at the minute. Obviously, as you can imagine, it's a busy time, so we will get back to you. Alternatively, we will be uploading this meeting and the slides as well from here on TBA activities. So anybody as well that you know who hasn't been able to attend, please point them in the direction, just so they know things like the timings and where to go on the day and what to do. But other than that, I will just check if Connor has any more to say or if India does. And no. Nope. Okay, perfect. Anyway, thank you very much. Oh, is there a last question there from Marco? I remember seeing other workshops on the sign up web page. Are those still happening? So there are the other workshops that were originally put up. We have the content already uploaded on eActivities for similar workshops. So you're able to currently go and have a look at those. So for things like the risk assessment training, there's a presentation on there that you can go and view. The same with events and tours and things like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Perfect. All right, thank you very much for your time, guys. And obviously, if you've got any questions, do let us know. If not, we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday and hope you have a great day at the fair and get lots of people signed up to your societies. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.